doing, man?
Scoflow Jopo They should do a Jidoon musical number.
They should do a Jidoon musical. What would it be called?
Scoflow Bojo Toko.
Oh, sorry. Of course, I did not. I did not realise this. The thing I really enjoyed about, right, okay. While we're here, let's have a chat about the Jidoon.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they have an interesting language that is inherently interesting. I find languages inherently interesting, and I like that Jidoonish, or whatever the language is called, is inherently interesting. I like that was it season 13? I can't remember. The most recent season, was that season 12 or whatever it was. The most recent season of Doctor Who with all the Jidoon in it, they had like an interesting sort of language thing develop where it was like, okay, well maybe the Jidoon language isn't necessarily about the syllables that you say, it's about the syllables that you don't say, and it's more about the rhythm of it instead. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting way of like making a fictional language. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then in the same season they had the bit where okay, we can't have the Jidoon word for go to be go. So we've got to just think of a different word that means the same thing. Can we try and think of a different... I think he shouted bow or something instead. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I felt like I could feel the scriptwriter's pain at that line.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have worked if he just shouted go.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe it's like, you know how... I have no idea how Mandarin works, but isn't there like sort of sentences sort of packed into like one symbol, or like different phrases in one sort of character, if you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like very, very phonetic. Oh, Christ knows, I don't know how Mandarin works either, but I know that it's like a very phonetic language, and similar sounds said in different tones can mean different words.
Yeah.
Like I think the word for mother and the word for horse are the same word, but said in like a higher or a lower pitch.
Oh.
I mean, take this with the biggest possible grain of salt, because I might be misremembering.
Yeah, we're a bunch of idiots over here, so
yeah.
don't.
I also remember that in China, I don't know if it's the case now, but I know it certainly was for a bit, that like wordplay was like puns were outlawed because they were so sort of plentiful, because it was such a sort of a phonetic language that they were outlawed completely, which I remember thinking, oh, that's interesting. I don't know if that's the case now. If it is, that's a shame. I like a good pun.
Me too. I couldn't think of one off the top of my head, but I do like them.
Yeah, pretty much all the jokes I ever make are puns. I'll see something on the TV and then look at Chloe and she'll just go, oh, for God's sake, go on, say it. And then I'll tell her what I think to be a hilarious pun, and then she'll go, oh.
As any person should when they hear you making a pun.
Yeah. If you don't like extremely laboured puns, I will accept instead of, oh, that was funny, Lewis. Good one.
Those are the two only responses acceptable.
Yeah, that and death threats based on the severity of my jokes.
Fuck's sake. In case you couldn't tell, this week we're talking about Doctor Who Season 3, Episode 2. Yeah, Episode 2. Not 1, 2. Smith and Jones, and it was written by Russell T Davies. It was directed by Charles Palmer, and it is starring David Tennant, Freema Agyeman, Annie Reid, Ray Marsden, Francine Jones, and Nicholas Briggs.
Indeed, it was.
Yeah.
This is a good episode, isn't it? Go on, have you got an opening statement?
Yes. A great start to a great season. We have Martha joining us. And I say again, is such an underrated character. Oh, and rhinos in space.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Great start to a great season. Space rhinos. Can you think of a combination better than that?
No.
It was. Here's a bit of a hot take. It's I like that in this episode, space rhinos kind of works, but in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, space dinosaurs doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a very strange...
And that's the name of the episode as well.
Yeah, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
But if this was called Space Rhinos, it would probably not be as good. Like...
Yeah, that's true.
The monster shouldn't be the sole message or focus of the episode. It should be there to sort of service the story, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyway.
Have you got some CRQs about the Judoon platoon upon the moon?
Yes, I do. Are the Judoon like a private police force, or are they like a public entity?
I sort of gathered they're a private police force, because in this episode they're sort of hired by the Shadow Proclamation to go and hunt down Old Lady with a Straw.
Yeah.
And then, what else is it? It's, again, season 13, where they're hired by... Who is it now?
Is it not the Time?
They're hired by somebody else. It might be the Time Lords, which, raises questions in itself. But they're hired by the Time Lords. Why would they
need the Judoon?
Yeah, you've got a time machine and the ability to go literally anywhere at any point in time. I feel like the last thing you'd need is like a space police force.
Yeah.
Let's outsource this job to these people known for their clumsiness and relative stupidity.
Yep. And just collateral damage. There was an episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures where a lone Judoon was looking for this other criminal, and it had the ability to ground people to their planet.
That's interesting.
It gave Clive, one of the companions, a sort of, you're grounded on Earth. But if they're a private police force, I don't know how they have the authority to do that.
Maybe it's just the sort of rule by force in a weird way. It's like if Clyde did try to go off planet, maybe let's say maybe he would encounter some kind of, I don't know, just like, even if it's just a trader, a guy on a ship trying to sell I don't know, a big batch of pineapples or whatever.
Yeah.
That he'd be like, "Oh, are you allowed to go off planet?" And he might mention that he's been grounded by the Judoon. He'd say, "No, the Judoon are too scary. The Judoon will outgun me in a heartbeat. I can't possibly deal with you if you're off planet. I'm gonna have to report you in the hopes that the Judoon don't arrest me."
Yeah, like, I suppose that works.
Yeah, just about it sort of works. Yep. Justice is swift. I love that. That's... It's ridiculous.
And privatised.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's kind of a right-wing sort of dream.
It's very much...
We've privatised the police force, and now it is running so smoothly. They have innovated their way through any problems that might have arisen.
Yep.
Oh, it's all just perfect and beautiful.
They put a hospital on the moon and just left nearly, must have killed about a dozen people. Jesus Christ.
Imagine if the actual police in our world had the jurisdiction to just pick up a hospital and move it. That would be an insane world.
Well, folks, we might get there. I don't know.
And is that the trailer for your new podcast, Danny's Spurious Conspiracy Theories?
Yep.
In which you say something about like a genuine issue in society, such as like the police, and then you just go, and then the rest is left up to the audience.
Vaguely worried noises after.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God! The Plasmavore.
Bill Gates.
No, that's a. The Plasmavore is a great villain. Like the whole old woman with a straw thing really takes. It's a really unique take on the vampire. Yeah,
totally. I adore the Plasmavore. Oh, that rhymed. I do love the Plasmavore very much. I like that it's... A lot of the time, vampires, they're sort of seductive thrall is likened to sort of like sexuality and being all sensual and sort of seducing someone to draw them in, and then surprise, and you're eating their throat, sort of thing.
Yeah, the new Resident Evil game.
I am entirely unaware of it. Is that what happens in that?
Well, there's this thing that's taking the internet by storm. There's a vampire in it called Lady Demestru or something.
Okay.
And she's extremely tall, and like
okay,
the internet are weirdly obsessed with that. There's like TikToks of people pretending to be like picked up by her and have their heads crushed. I'm
sorry, what?
I don't know. It seems to be.
I mean, okay, I don't feel informed enough to make a comment on that. Yeah, that just seems. I mean, if that's your thing, go crazy. It just, you know.
There certainly seems to be an element of sexuality to it, but I just, it's not for me. Getting my head demolished.
No. I think having my brain crushed is not particularly the sexiest experience that I would like to have. But anyway. Vampires, I think, have long had a sort of innate sexiness to them. Like, I think that's what Twilight was trying to go for. I think it's always been, vampires hypnotize you with their sort of inherent sexiness and then draw you in and you're being eaten. I think I like that in this case the vampire is a kindly old lady that's like, oh dearie, would you like a word that's original? Oh, now I'm eating you. I quite like that. It's a dispatcher.
A dispatcher, yeah.
Yes, what's the fucking word I'm going for? It's a bit of a way away from traditional vampire narratives, and I really enjoy that. Mm-hmm. As with anything even vaguely adjacent to vampires, I'm going to bring it back to Salem's Lot, which, in my humble opinion, is the one and only piece of vampire literature that people should read if they want to read vampire literature. There's a bit right at the end, I think it's the epilogue actually, where there's like a little girl in the woods, and like all throughout the book, it's been made the point that like the vampires will draw you in through whatever they think is the easiest way to draw you in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And she sort of simultaneously draws in these two men because it's long story short, a man goes into a bar and he's like, my wife and my daughter, they're in our car out in the blizzard. I need one of you two with a big truck or something to help tow us through this blizzard.
Yeah.
And they go, all right, you've left him in the car. Were the doors locked? Was the heater on? All this sort of stuff. And he goes, yeah, the doors were locked. Heater's on. I was like, okay, they might not be dead. And he goes, what? Why would they be dead? He goes, well, the woods are full of vampires, mate. And he goes, what? The woods are full of vampires? And that's essentially, how the rest of the epilogue goes. But long story short, these two men from the bar go to find this woman and child, and they discover they have indeed been turned into vampires. Aww. But while the mother is like, been all using her sort of, ooh, come and give me a kiss, and I'll not eat you, I promise. The little girl is like, preys on the inherent vulnerability of her situation, and she's like, oh, I'm so cold, I'm so small, look, I've only got this teddy bear and a little raincoat, and it's like a blizzard, I'm really cold, I'm vulnerable, sort of thing. Can I borrow your coat, sort of thing? And I really appreciated that. I think in the moment was like, the vampires are just sort of creatures that like will just take on the most vulnerable aspects of whatever they happen to be in order to draw people in. And I think that, somehow bringing it back to Doctor Who, that's what the Plasmavore does quite well, is that it's hard to feel hostile aggression towards an old lady. Because you see an old lady and you're like, oh, well, enough, you're right. Like, every day I go for a walk to go and see Chloe when she's on her way home from work, and without fail, every day I walk past an old lady walking a dog. It's a different old lady every day. I'm not entirely sure how this happens. But every day I'm like, oh, that's a nice dog. And they're like, thanks, dear. And carry on walking. I like that the Plasmavore is, like you say, it's like a kindly old lady. It's a departure. That's still not right.
Departure?
It's a departure from like a traditional vampire narrative.
Yeah.
And now that I've talked about vampires for about 20 minutes, and nobody seems to have stopped me yet, have you got any more CRQs?
Yeah, just to carry on with that. I think the sort of thing that makes it horrific is that it weaponizes things that we think are safe and sort of benign, and that's what great horror does. It takes things that you feel safe with and turns it into something horrific. But no, you're right.
Yeah,
I didn't stop you because I actually enjoyed what you were saying. I need to read Salem's Lot now.
Mate, it's one of the only books that's ever given me nightmares. It's fucking chilling. It's the only thing I don't want to spoil any of it for you, but the only thing I would say is I finished it at about, I think it was about midnight, 1 a.m. I finished the book, and I sort of closed it and I put it on my nightstand and I thought, okay, gotta go and brush my teeth and put my retainer in and all this sort of stuff. And then I looked around me at the dark room and I realised that the light was off in the hallway, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I was like shitting myself, running from my bedroom to the bathroom, frantically slamming on the light switch in the bathroom, running in and being like, there's no vampires in the hallways there. There's no vampires out there.
That's the best kind of horror.
Oh god, yeah. It's speaking of horror, I don't know how we've made this departure, but I watched this week Crimson Peak, the Guillermo del Toro film. Have you ever seen it?
No, is it good?
It is extremely good. It's one of the most beautiful films ever made, in my humble opinion.
Wow.
Not in terms of thematically, in terms of stylistically. Because it's a horror film. It doesn't have beautiful themes.
No.
It's a series of horrific things happen in a horrific place to horrific people. But yeah, it's really, really good. You should go and watch it. We'll have to do it for the podcast. It's really good.
Yeah.
If you had have watched it, I'd have said, oh, okay, skip ahead 5 minutes. We're going to talk about that. Right, anyway, I love Martha. She's finally in the show.
Yes, I do. She's great.
Martha is great. I love a good character that is standing on their own 2 feet. They are along with the Doctor because they want to be, and they're sort of willing to say, okay, here I have something to offer to the team. Essentially, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the fact that she's like a doctor or training to be a doctor, like just makes like almost like it's either because I think if I'm thinking correctly, what are the other jobs that the other characters have? Rose works in a
shop.
Yeah.
Which I'm not being funny. Yeah, frontline customer service work is brutal work.
Absolutely, we're not denigrating it. Listen, I know firsthand. It's fucking shite.
What did Donna do? She was a temp.
Yep.
She was good at typing. What's that thing she said in the last episode? Fastest fingers in Chiswick or something?
Did I ever tell you? Best temp in Chiswick. 100 words per minute.
Yeah, that's the one. 100 words per minute is incredible. I write for a living and I can do about 85. Like, wow. 100 words per minute is fantastic. Who's next after that?
Amy was a kissogram.
Yeah, which is
alright.
Which I feel like was the thing that what's his face put in for a laugh. Like it was played for a bit of a joke in that first episode. Yeah, Stephen Moffat. We haven't even got to him yet, and I'm already hating on him. But it was sort of played for a joke in that first episode, and then never addressed again, which I remember thinking was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Rory was a nurse.
Yeah, Rory was a nurse. Yep.
Who was after Rory and Amy?
Clara was a teacher.
Yeah. And then, oh my god! And then Bill.
And Bill was a student.
Yeah, and Nardole was just kind of a guy
yeah.
who existed in the world.
Yeah. The thing about Amy being a kissogram, it sort of foreshadowed her, shall we say, tenuous grasp on fidelity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a whole thing, wasn't it? It was like
it was a whole thing. Yeah.
I'm getting married in the morning. And the doctor's like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Like, that's. It makes me. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, I have strong opinions on the way that Stephen Moffat writes female characters, but yeah, it's it was a bit of a weird one. I remember thinking at the time, hang on, isn't this like a kids show?
Yeah.
we just had a fun, exciting romp where they ran around a spaceship with a whale in it, and now what's going? Yeah. This is really weird.
It is really weird. But I think the Doctor's really just an arsehole now, because he's just using Martha to grieve over over Rose, and like, imagine
Yeah,
saying
you're
to
completely
someone,
right.
"Not that you're replacing her." Yeah. Like,
Yeah. It's the only way it could be okay would be if the Doctor didn't know he was doing it. But the Doctor is like 800 years old or something.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd have to pick up on enough social cues that he would at least have an inkling that he knew what he was doing.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
absolutely. Like he's like, oh, this means nothing. Honestly, nothing. Aye, okay. Yep, I believe you. But yeah, no, I really like Martha, and as we see as the season goes on, she's very overlooked and very underrated, and makes some of the smartest choices in the show, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I love the I love the Martha's sort of quest to get the gun in 4 parts. What was the other things that she did in that season? I loved Martha being so sort of independent when she got kidnapped by Catman and Human Lady.
Oh no, it was 2 humans she got kidnapped by, and the Doctor was with Catman and Human Lady.
Yes, it was. It was 2 humans.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Doctor Who nerds and fans. I completely forgot that.
As if we're separate from them in any way. Like, I mean,
No, yeah.
I like how she has to sort of fend for herself in the Family of Blood storyline, and it's literally up to her to sort of, you know, keep the Doctor from fucking, you know, falling in love.
Yeah, I adore the Family of Blood storyline. I'm really looking forward to that.
As am I.
Just so I have an excuse to rewatch those episodes. It's really, really good.
Yeah. His last sort of notes. I really enjoy when the Doctor sort of improvises and pretends to be like a postman.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
No, I know completely what you mean.
it showcases like David Tennant's acting abilities, like, you know, the hospital's dying and all that, and he just can come across as like an earnest sort of postman. this bloody
I love David Tennant.
big space rhino things. Rhinos in space.
That's my reaction watching
yeah.
the episode. Rhinos in space!
Have you ever considered becoming a postman, Lewis? Maybe you should.
I have not, though I do have an aunt that works as a postal delivery person. That I have no idea what the technical job title is, but I imagine it's something like that.
Yeah.
From what she tells me, it's extremely punishing work, and I'm not at all envious of her for doing it. So no, I have not thought about being a postman.
Well, you know, new career and all that, you know.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I think I've run out of notes as well. I agree with the Doctor improvising thing. It's I like that. I think that's the sort of the distinction between intelligence and cleverness.
Yeah.
We see the Doctor being intelligent a lot when he's like, oh yeah, these are the Sycorax, and they have this, and they have this, and they do this, and this. But then the Doctor actually being clever is him improvising and finding unique solutions and creative solutions that don't spill a drop of blood.
Yeah.
I think that's the really impressive part of the Doctor that I think we come to know and love through the series, and I really like it.
Definitely. No, I agree. But yeah,
You've got a closing statement then, Chuck?
I do. It's this episode is really good. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what happens next, even though I already know. Why I'm pretending that I haven't seen this for the first time. I have no fucking clue.
Well, lovely. Yeah, I really adore this episode. It has space rhinos in it. Just a heads up to anybody who likes to listen to the show at great length. If any episodes involve the Judoon, they are automatically in sort of my top 10.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind.
So there's not many.
No, there aren't many. There should be more. I would happily watch like a spin-off series about the Judoon. In fact, no, I wouldn't. That'd be really dull because the Judoon have no personality.
Yeah, like a space version of the Bill with like no like stakes or character arcs. Nice.
Yeah, love this episode. Can't wait to see more of the Doctor and Martha interacting. That's it, really. Have we got a bit of shilling to do or anything like that?
We do, I believe so.
Oh, lovely stuff.
The podcast has link trees. Lewis's link tree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine is /O'Hiram, and the podcast is /Shouting into the Void.
Very impressive.
So got it in one. We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all, would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we take the opportunity every week to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You keep the lights on at Void Towers, and it means the absolute world that you support us as you do. It means the world to every single person that listens. That is a strange way of phrasing that. Every single person that listens means the world to us, and it means the world times a million that you are there financially supporting us and helping us to make this show that we love to make. So thank you so much for helping to make the show.
Nice save.
Thank you.
We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell loads of tacky shit, so go have a look, see what you fancy, and get yourself something nice.
Yeah, get yourself something nice out of our tacky shit.
And last but not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a... Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which she crochets and is very, very good at it. The reason that you should go and check her out on Instagram is that her feed is Chef's Kiss Bellissimo. It will brighten up your feed with beautiful colours, patterns, and quite frankly, incredibly impressive stitches. I would definitely recommend going and taking a look. It's on Instagram at Number 12 Crochet Avenue. Go and take a look. It would mean the world to me. Thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. Well,
what are we doing next week, Dan?
I think it's Gridlock next week. I think that's the name of the episode, if I remember correctly.
I don't think so. Next week is the Shakespeare Code.
Shit, so it is, with the witches and that. Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will hear you, see you, smell you. Skull, Flow, Bojo, Scalp, Bojo. What? No.
My
For
God.
legal reasons.
Quick, end it.
For
before
legal
we get,
reasons,
sued.
that is a joke. Okay. Cheers.
Thank you very much for listening.